And Muskan, you're meant to do the intro.
Do we start? Ready?
Yeah, we're live.
Awesome. Hey everyone, welcome to Maverick and welcome to Real World, Maverick's new RWA podcast series where we unpack the biggest shifts transforming real world assets. We're super excited to kick off the first episode of Real World. We hope you enjoy this. I'm Maverick's intern, your best friend, and your host for today. And I'm joined by Maverick's co founder and chief of operations, Sam Morrow, and Maverick's CMO, Matthias Childress, as we dig into what's actually happening across the RWA space right now. As RWAs gain momentum, the real question is how these shifts are reshaping finance faster than anyone expected. And that's exactly what we're going to be covering in this series. So, before we start, I would like to start with a little disclaimer. Just so we're safe, this is only for educational and entertainment purposes. We're not financial advisors, and nothing here is a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any cryptocurrency or digital asset. So I know you guys already know it, but cryptocurrency is a highly volatile and speculative market. You can lose all your investment capital, do your own research, and consult qualified financial professionals before making any investment decisions. So, without further ado, I'm going to now hand over the space to Sam and Matt so they can take us through the latest developments across RWAs. Over
So,
to you guys.
so to all our viewers, welcome. But just so you know, our intern was meant to stick to a script. She
That
went
was
off script. Then she did really well. You did well. You did great. You did great. But like, it was meant to be tight, but she did really, really well. And by the way, she usually speaks a million miles an hour, and just did that really nicely. So I think that's
great.
a
Now I
big
don't have creative
congratulations.
freedom. I don't have
Did
creative
you
freedom
actually
anymore.
expect her? Did you actually expect the intern to stay on script? That's not part of the job
You know what?
description.
I kind of did, but I'm
It's not
really
part of
surprised
the
that she went
job.
out. I was really surprised that she went out. But no, look, guys, welcome to Real World. Maverick's new podcast series on X. It's a broadcast. I'm Matthias Georges, the CMO. Very excited to have you all here. I'm going to caveat something. When I first started with Maverick a while back, literally understood about 10% of what they would say to me. I now am at about 60% of understanding what we do as a business, from RWAs to the RegTech stack built within it, all the way to the primary secondary market and lending and borrowing platform that we have. That leads me to our co-founder and COO, Chief Operating Officer, and special matter expert, Sam Morrow. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. How are you? I'm Sam, co-founder and COO of Maverick. Funny note about Matthias. When he first joined, I only knew about 5% of what he says.
Yeah.
I now only know about 10% and understand about 10% what he says. It's just, it's a Matthias kind of thing now.
Awesome. And by the
But
way,
he'll get there. He'll
get
eventually understand 100% of RWAs like I do.
100%. By the end of it, we're all going to learn together, guys. I'm the one that doesn't know as much, so I
Yeah.
ask silly questions, and these guys help me get through it. Intern, get back on. You're not going anywhere. There's no way you're going backstage, so come back here. All right, so let's get into it, guys. We've got a really cool agenda. So, just to give you a bit of a brief idea, the reason why we did this broadcast is because we found there's a lot of miscommunication in the industry, especially on the RWA side. We're very much constructively looking at our peers in the industry, but more importantly, we're also looking at helping people understand the RWA space itself. Where it's going, where we see early adoption, and all those kind of things. So the way that we're going to kind of get into this straight away, and I'm just going to share my screen. Just get the window. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So, so right now, and I'm just going to kind of bring it back over here. So, the current landscape as we see it, and this is a snapshot that we kind of have analyzed ourselves. It's around the RWA total value that's kind of being used and all that kind of stuff, and actually on chain being traded is about 37 billion to 54 billion. There's two interesting numbers here, and like the reason why we've got a range is because when you kind of look at it from an RWXYZ, that if you guys, big shout out to RWXYZ, for really helping people understand what is tokenized in the industry and what products or what projects out there are RWA tokenization projects. So when we look at it from this point of view, and there's some interesting numbers here that everyone should really learn. We've got 37 billion. You can see just here, this number over here on the top where I'm hovering over. There's about 37 billion there in tokenized assets. That's between private credit, US Treasury debt, commodities, and so on. What's important to see is that there's a difference between their stats. So you've got distributed, that's actually on-chain traded tokenized assets versus represented, right? So this is actually blockchain usage of RWAs and for bookkeeping and all those things. But, interestingly, we're going to see how that evolves over time. On the other hand, why we use CoinGecko is because, they kind of allude to many things, and kind of why we really started doing this broadcast. It's because when you actually dig into it, you've got people like Link and stuff like that, shout out to Link because, they're an absolutely amazing project. They've really been leaders in the space. We did a piece on them and really pushing it. But, whether, they should be classified as RWAs to the real RWA players in the industry that actually are doing the tokenization side of things, as they're doing more the data oracle side, is a kind of a bigger question that we all should look at as a industry. Obviously, Ondo, a key player and really doing great things in the industry themselves. So a big shout out to them. Now, just let me get back into it. So we've got a few, the way that we set this out is we've got a few news highlights. The first one that we're going to look at today is the big announcement from Saudi. So basically, Riga completes the first real estate tokenization established global standards under the Ministry of Oversight. Actually, you know what, before I jump into that, and apologies today, guys, like it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth, but Sam, what are your thoughts on the kind of the range that we have looked at from a perspective of RWXYZ. And then also one thing that I wanted to touch on was as well that, we've looked at many times the McKinsey numbers. I think there's also another few other ones of the consulting firms of the Big Four that say in 2026, the RWA industry is going to be at circa 400 billion, right? And right now, as you can see, the numbers are around 50 billion. What are your thoughts on that range? And in 2026, are we gonna see a big increase coming? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we'll see a big increase coming. It's all slow at first, right? The first drops take a while, but then it just builds up to eventually the whole waterfall and landslide comes in, right? So they just need to, once they get it right, and once the industry gets it right for RWAs, then the floodgates will open, and it will just exponentially grow in the amount of assets that actually are brought on chain to be tokenized and traded.
Yeah. I agree with you. And I think one of the really interesting, our founder and CEO, Alex Davies, apologizes, but he had to attend an important meeting. But he did a really nice piece that was a feature of BlackRock, right? Where BlackRock basically said, this is the show me year of RWA assets. So show me year being 2026. And, as, leaders in the industry ourselves in regards to what we've built, and we're going to get there from a holistic project, we're really focusing on 2026 being our year to really prove our technology when it goes live with our partners, Multibank Group and Multibank.io RWA, shout out to Multibank, and other partners that we have in the pipeline coming. So really nice insight there, Sam. So back to the news. So so this is a really big piece of news, Sam. Like basically Riga, that's the Real Estate General Authority of Saudi Arabia, completed its first real estate tokenization process for a title deed. That this initiative is the guidance from Majid Al-Khalail, the Minister of Municipalities and Housing. And this is a huge thing because it was tokenized through the National Housing Company, right, the NHC, and basically then was kind of bought by various investors, from what their press release says. Sam, being in the business and knowing that, knowing where we are, like knowing the US and where we're heading as well as a project and a business. How big is it that for the GCC that Saudi's opened up to doing tokenization? And shout out to Pripco as well, because they were probably one of they were the first one in the UAE to actually do a tokenized deed format like that. So how big does this open us up in the sector to really moving in the right direction in the GCC?
It's very big for us in the GCC. Huge congrats to Saudi for getting this done. It's a very, very promising step forward for them. Really excited to see this and their openness to doing RWA tokenization of land deeds and bringing that on chain, allowing people to opening up access to real estate with fractionalization and the tokens on through official government procedures and through they've been pushing for this.
Yeah,
Quite nice, quite amazing to see.
No, I agree with you, man. And so I think what's important for our viewers to understand is that, all the people that we've been speaking to, like the, clients, prospecting clients, like, so if for those of you that aren't aware, we have as Mavryk, in partnership with Mag Lifestyle Development and Multibank, a $3 billion deal that scales up to 10 billion to tokenize 3 to 10 billion of real estate here in the UAE, right? And that's massive. So we're working towards that in a big way. But more importantly is that a lot of the people that we've spoken to, and Pripco have gone down the deed route and stuff like that. And the regulators here have really made it spectacular to be able to work in this space here in the market for these guys. But more importantly, the method of tokenizing a deed is much more difficult than tokenizing the yield. And Sam, you and I know this because obviously we're in the business. But it's actually from a point of view, from a country point of view, to actually be able to do this stuff. It's very, very
difficult. Think about it this way: you're moving land deeds from being paper to being digital certificates on chain, right?
Yeah.
If they're doing it that way, so if instead of just issuing paper land deeds, you can now just move everything to be on chain.
Yeah.
And digital, exactly, and then you can have backups and records of them that aren't like paper, and your backups aren't paper stored somewhere. Exactly, you just have you can just the backups are stored on the blockchain network, so they're dispersed across the globe. That's amazing. That's huge.
One click of a button, you can have fractional ownership or full ownership, right? So it's like literally in seconds, it can be that whole thing. Yeah, and just to the point there, that's full ownership. But the easy access for most of these projects like us and most people is that it's not tokenizing the deed itself, but tokenizing the property portfolio. So the yield that's made off the property portfolio. So that's actually another educational piece for everyone to understand that this is a huge leap in the right direction of where the real estate business wants to go. That's what a lot of our, when we speak to a lot of our clients and prospecting clients, they're going, well, the real estate portfolio idea is great, but what we actually want to do is, sell properties, and deeds is the way to go. So again, shout out to Saudi, really great job there for what they're achieving.
Yeah, well done.
Things. One thing that I did look at though was, thanks to ChatGPT, was, it was a bit unclear about who was the actual, the people that actually were behind tokenization and stuff like that. So this isn't factual, like, we obviously, these things are never right on AI, but, I was kind of looking into it, and it looks like there was a company called Settlement, that is a global organization provider. And then I looked at what chain it was, and it was actually done more in-house versus a public network. So if anyone has any information on that to kind of give us some more understanding, that would be really great. So we can kind of also help everyone understand what the full arrangement was there. Okay, the other big piece of news as well is that the FDIC chief says the Genius Act will be regulations is heading for a proposal this month, being in December. Basically, a Genius Act, for those of you that don't know, guiding and establishing national innovation for US stablecoins. Basically, that's if you guys aren't aware, and Sam can elaborate on this, but basically it's how things are regulated from a stablecoin point of view, from liquidity provisions and so on, and things like that. Sam, we've spoken about stablecoins a lot, obviously in the RWA business, because of the traditional side of things, the often on-ramping of things. How big is this act, and what does it do for the industry itself?
The act is very big. It really helps put a framework for stablecoins and payment stablecoins, and how that will and how that allows companies that are regulated in the U.S. To interact with them. Right, banks for a long time kind of didn't interact and do much with stablecoins. They did it in research and development, but nothing official, because they were waiting for a way for them to work with an official regulated way for them to work with them. And now they have that. So now banks are getting into stablecoins too, and exploring how best they can use them to build and to get them out there.
Perfect. And no, thanks, Sam. Sorry, there was a bit of background noise, so I just muted myself. So, what I really liked about it is that it basically contemplates an array of federal and state entities taking part in the supervision of the stablecoin sector. What it says here at the end is important, because it's also responsible for the liquidity standards and the regulatory regulating the quality of reserves the issues set aside. Because we've seen the collapse of things like algorithmic stablecoins and stuff like that, and basically at the end of the day, you need a real asset that's backing these stable coins. So it's really good to see this act. It's really going to propel, I think, adoption from a government level, at a country level, from many different countries across the board. A lot of countries are already adopting this space as well. So it's really good to see that coming through in the next couple of months, in the next month, so to speak. Okay, that takes us to basically the next section that we have. That is our RWA Mindshare. So for those of you that aren't aware, we, as Mavryk, have kind of gone into a few educational pieces, because we realize it's a really big thing. So one of the things that we've done is a series that we're going to keep on going every week, because if you look at things like Cato, they have a Mindshare map, and then there's also, what's the other Mindshare map one, Sam? The one that's
Sorry.
Mavryk, yeah, exactly right. So when you look at those two Mindshares, there's a filter called RWA, right? And there's a little bit of a misconception that, what is RWA versus not. Like in regards to when we speak as a project, when we speak about RWAs, we're speaking about people that actually are tokenizing. Number one, facilitating the technology, or number two, actually going into the business of tokenization, and then on selling that to customers and things like that. So basically what we look at it, and we look at projects in a different way. We look at, just to give you an idea here, right now we've done 5 projects. If you haven't checked this out, guys, head over to our Telegram. Sorry, Telegram. You can head over to our Telegram
Twitter
as well. It's there. But head over to our Twitter, and basically you can see that we've got this as one of our things that'll be pinned at the top. I think we can remove the pin from the other one, and we'll add the pin to this one. But we've done so far. Chainlink was our first one. That very much focuses on the data protocol side of things. We all know that what they're there for, and they've done an amazing job. Then we go to other projects like Plume, Injective, and Ondo. Now, got a caveat, we've got to kind of be a little bit educational here, and responsible as well, because we've got to look at this as Ondo is live and doing an absolutely amazing job. Injective has so much promise as a project. They've really built a lot out. And then, there's projects like Plume that are still a bit in, they're blossoming, but they're still yet to show a lot of things that the industry wants to see at the standard that we want it at. So, but number one, shout out to all these guys. They're all pushing the industry forward. But, we're kind of also comparing, the benefits of each of the projects and what we do. This is basically a constructive method that we're doing here. It's really just kind of showing in the industry who is RWA from the different features. I think it's important to look at the features that they're supplying and the benefits and stuff like that, and then just seeing through what they're actually doing. What we all seeing through what they actually do compared to us. So some really strong, like Injective's really strong, but the industry leader right now obviously is Ondo, right? Like, and the big thing about this is, and I'll kind of push this over to Sam, is that they've gone down the institutional route. And Sam, I was telling this to someone the other night, and I think you were there in the conversation, but you look at big projects as well that have been in the space for a while. Like the likes of, well, not big, but like Realty and Lofty that, have really focused on the retail side of things, right? And especially in real estate. And they've got like probably a few thousand customers each. But Ondo, really surprisingly, as we started doing this research, have in all up about 460 customers, and they're all but basically pretty much all of them are institutional, right? That's a mix of like 60 for US customers, and then about circa 400 for about outside of the US. Sam, comparatively, these projects, you know a lot about all these things. Where do you think the vision stands? Moving into that. Everyone talks about tokenization RWA as fractional access and things like that. But the way that we're seeing it, the adoption's really happening in the institutional space. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the majority of the adoption will start with institutional space and then eventually get to retail. That's how it works with a lot of things. Like institutions will come in, they'll put their money behind it, they'll get into these different treasuries, these different assets, and they bring the big bucks, right? And then there'll be people that offer different products that retail will get into, that retail will be interested in also.
Yeah.
But the majority of the dollar-wise adoption will be from institutions. They're the ones that have the money, right?
I agree with you. For the next 10 years, I reckon that's going to be the case. I think that, or maybe for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years, I think that fractional ownership will be a thing later down the line when, companies like eToro and stuff like that start providing fractional access to tokenized assets. But right now it's still very immature, and like there's a lot of people within the mainstream that haven't really seen the value yet, because there's other options in the traditional space that they're more comfortable with. I think that when a more sophisticated investor like the institutions that we speak with, you start speaking to them and stuff like that, you realize that there is a slower adoption. There's many of them because Ondo has proved that there's many institutional investors, but there is a slow-moving adoption to taking a new asset class, a traditional asset class tokenized into their portfolios for their customers. So that's like a really interesting space that we're kind of going into, and really agree with what Sam said there. It's where the money's going to come from institutions, especially RWAs, and I believe that institutions are going to take more consideration to RWAs than any other asset class that there is or any other asset type that there is in crypto. All right, so basically product updates. So product updates, Sam, there's a few product updates that we've got here. I'll kind of speak them out to you. I don't know if the team send them to you, but I'm going to shout them out, and then you kind of give a bit of a recap from your side.
Yeah, I can do it.
Oh, you got it? Okay, sweet.
Yeah, I got it. Let's see. Normal Chrome version of the wallet is already on the web store.
Oh, sorry,
that's
Sam,
what everyone's using.
Sorry, Sam. Let me just caveat, guys. This is our project's update. So this is the updates on the Mavryk project. I'm going to give myself a little note there to make it a bit of a spill. But basically, just so you guys know and aware, Mavryk, we're a layer 1 blockchain. If you don't know, if you're just jumping into to view this video now, we're a layer 1 blockchain focused on RWAs. We've built a primary and a secondary market for tokenization trading. And then more importantly, well, not more importantly, but at the same equivalence, we've also built a lending and borrowing platform. What's really nice about it is that through our wallet and ecosystem, when you buy assets from Mavryk, you can use them as collateral to borrow against on the lending and borrowing platform called Maven. So that's in the future when we launch very soon, but that's what's going to be accessible. Sam, sorry, back to you.
All good. So Mavryk product updates. The wallet, Chrome extension, as you know, we're working on a Firefox wallet that's almost complete. We're just finalizing a few stuff and should be up soon. Ledger apps, those audits are done. We are finalizing some tests with them, and we'll be submitting them as well to Ledger to get them on the store for you guys, both a wallet app to secure Mavryk storage and a validator app for validators to attest and produce blocks and sign them. BaseNet, we have a DevNet that's up and running right now. Faucet for that is coming soon, along with, once that's done, public release as well will be, as you guys know, we have the AtlasNet testnet running. Once the DevNet is ready, we'll be deprecating the AtlasNet, and all testing will be moved to the DevNet. Validators, you guys have the MRD Mavryk Rewards Distributor already online and ready for you guys to use to calculate and distribute delegation and co-staking rewards. If you are not in the, if you're a validator and you haven't talked to us, come talk to us. Let's help you out with that. Mavryk Dex development complete. We're just running some end-to-end testing right now and audits, and then hopefully that will be up for you guys in the beginning of the new year. Matt, you're muted.
How have I done, intern? How have we done with Sam?
I think it could have been better. I'm just kidding. No, it was great. It was great.
Until I blundered the end. Sorry, guys, I apologize. No, but that's it. But like, look, guys, these sessions, we're going to be doing them every 2 weeks from now. It's really just to kind of, again, help the industry understand where the state of play is at based on a lot of mismatched information that's out there. Sorry, intern, can you just put yourself on mute? It's a little bit noisy on your side. Really it's about just kind of making sure that we build a community around, logic and focus on the right things that are out there. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We really appreciate it. We'll be back with you in about 2 weeks, and stay safe. Don't forget to follow us on.
Thank you, everyone.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle, if you guys don't know, is Mavryk Network, and then basically, I believe on our Telegram, I'm just double checking so that I don't get it wrong for you guys, is Mavryk Network as well, right? So guys, make sure to follow us if you have not already, and stay safe. See you later. See you, Sam. See you, intern.
See you, Matthias. Thank you, everyone.